How's it going, everyone? Sorry for Mother SpongeBob. That was the day. It's May 7th, 2021, and today we're going to take a look at the major severe, well, I shouldn't say major, but a severe weather threat that's expected to impact the southeast, as well as a pretty significant Arctic blast that's going to impact the northeast, bringing temperatures to almost 20 degrees below average Fahrenheit. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather calls. Make sure to like if you like this video. Make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. So let's begin by taking a look at the Arctic Oscillation Index, and you might be wondering, well, why am I showing you the Arctic Oscillation Index right now? Well, it's to better exemplify the reason why we're going to see a pretty significant Arctic blast throughout the Northeast and into the Great Lakes, and it's because we're in a negative Arctic oscillation. So if you're a first-time viewer, long story short, a negative Arctic oscillation means that cold air is more likely to meander further southward into the U.S. because of weaker westerly winds, while a positive Arctic oscillation, the cold air is less likely to entrain the United States because the westerly winds are stronger and they're going to divert that cold air more from a west to east direction. And you see that we're in a negative Arctic oscillation, which means the chance of cold air moving through the United States definitely increases when we're in negative Arctic oscillation. So, and you see that the forecast and you see the index is forecasting that we're going to be in a negative Arctic oscillation for the next couple days or maybe another week before maybe rebounding to around a neutral type of Arctic oscillation, and then for the most part the forecasts are more leaning towards a neutral to maybe negative phase later on. So we need to keep a close eye on that to determine what type of temperatures we're going to see throughout the United States for a lot of this week and into the weeks ahead as well. But let's first take a look at the GFS model to see what's exactly happening right now based off of the surface map of the GFS. You see that there's this big dip in the jet stream where we see that 540 millibar contour line dip all the way south, as far south as the mid-Atlantic states, and you see that there is some precipitation associated with a trough moving through the little bit of a cold front, I'd say, moving through the area with bringing some rain showers along with it. It isn't expected to be anything major. No major rain should come out of this because the air is going to be too stable to really induce just very heavy rain. However, it's just going to be an ugly weekend for a lot of you guys in the Northeast because of this trough. And you see, if we move forward, you see that the trough continues to move further eastward, and you know the nor'easter I was talking to you about. While this storm will develop, it's gonna be well far offshore, so it won't really impact the Northeast. However, you see that the cold temperatures will continue throughout the week for a lot of the United States, thanks to just northwesterly winds are going to be associated with a lot of these low pressure systems, because this low pressure system is going to be quite formidable, move up the Gulf Stream pretty much, and it's going to bring strong northerly wind component, and that's going to bring the cold Canadian air further southward into the Northeast, and then we will see temperatures rebound a little bit once this trough moves through the Northeast. But you see right behind it, there's going to be another big jet stream dip, so it's going to take a while for you guys in the Northeast and the Great Lakes states to get out of cooler than average temperatures for the most part. So you guys need to keep a close eye on that overall. But the more potentially major threat that I am concerned about is, of course, the severe wet threat that's going to impact the southeast. So you see the current surface radar, we're mostly dry. Take a look at pretty much the current radar. You see that it is as of around 2 p.m., which is going to be right around the time you guys are seeing this video, maybe a little bit before then. But you see that there's some rain showers throughout the Northeast. These aren't heavy at all, but it's completely dry for the most part, as the air is very stable right now. There's a pretty big ridge that's dominating the southern United States at this point. And however, that is quickly about to change once we get this shortwave trough that's going to move through the Pacific Northwest and bring showers further southward, and it's going to set the stage for some severe weather to occur, because behind this shortwave trough is some cold air behind it. So taking a look at what the GFS model is forecasting over the next several days, you see that It's only 4 hours from now. The trough moves further and further to the southeast, along with snow and rain on the back side of it, on the back side of the storm. So you guys need to pay close attention to this. And it does develop into quite a formidable low pressure system, as it's going to encounter just a confluence and influx of just warm air associated with this ridge. And the pressure gradient between this low pressure system and this ridge is going to bring strong southerly winds further northward. And once it encounters the colder air that's to the west of it, that's to the north and west of it, it's going to bring an area of, it's just going to bring an influx of heavy rain throughout the Midwest. And this raises a concern of some flooding throughout the Great Lakes states and a lot of the Ohio Valley states, where we do see areas of heavier rain, as there is just going to be a pretty strong contrast in temperature, or just enough unstable air to induce heavy rainfall throughout the Ohio Valley. So you guys need to pay close attention to this throughout the Midwest, because that could certainly raise concern of some flooding if the rainfall is heavy enough and if the storm is strong enough, which around 48 hours out, it seems pretty likely that we will see some sort of heavy rain threat throughout the Ohio Valley. So for this weekend, it's going to be ugly for a lot of you guys in the Midwest and the Northeast, unfortunately. And you might also need to be prepared for some flooding, especially if you're along rivers that are already pretty high and close to overtopping their banks. So you need to pay close attention to this. However, another thing you guys in Southeast need to pay close attention to is the southern side of this storm, because like I said before, there's going to be a lot of cold air behind it, and that's going to set the stage for some unstable air mass right around the southern Midwest states and into the Southeast, where we do see a little bit of a tail end from this low pressure system, and it has a chance of bringing a lot of thunder showers throughout the Southeast. While I wouldn't say there's going to be enough unstable air to really make the storm necessarily an extreme severe weather threat just yet, based on what the computer models are saying, maybe that could change depending on how much northerly winds are going to be associated with this storm, because that could definitely make a huge impact on how much unstable air there will be and how much lift there will be in the atmosphere. But as of right now, the current consensus is that this won't really be major or extreme, but it should at least bring a decent amount of severe still a decent risk or moderate risk of severe weather throughout these states, which includes Arkansas, Oklahoma, maybe even Kansas, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi could also get involved in some moderate risk of severe weather. So you see that there's going to be just enough unstable air, just enough of a jet stream dip behind it to induce some thunder shower activity, and this could maybe even extend into maybe Wednesday, where we do see that severe weather linger right around Southeast states, because right behind this initial low pressure system, there's going to be another low pressure system that's going to be just behind it, where we do see just an area that's going to linger around for a little bit, but it's still going to bring at least some snowfall, as that this other air mass could bring another threat of severe weather right around the 5-day mark. But there's still a lot of uncertainty with that when we're talking about something 5 days out. It really all depends on if this low pressure system does develop or doesn't change just enough cold air to set the stage for severe weather beyond the 3 to 4 day mark. So we just have to wait and see, but it's pretty likely we're going to at least experience some severe weather from this trough that's going to move through. That's going to be right behind this low pressure system. So you guys need to pay close attention to this. I don't expect it, like I said, I don't expect it to be major. I expect the main threat to be primarily damaging winds and maybe some hail. Taking a look at the winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, you see that for the most part there isn't much or very strong wind shear at all. Outside of the strengthening of the winds with height, there isn't a big variation in wind direction between the winds along the surface and the winds in the upper levels and the mid levels of the atmosphere. So as a result, there isn't going to the tornado threat will certainly be limited. I won't completely rule it out, but I'd say it'll be isolated. But damaging winds and hail should certainly be the concern. And taking a look at the Cape levels from the GFS model, you see that there's a decent amount of CAPE, or surface-based convective available potential energy, throughout the Midwest, and that's enough to induce some thunderstorm activity. We're seeing values over 2,000, so there's certainly a lot of lift in the atmosphere, and you see that there's even some points where the convective available potential energy reaches over 3,000 joules per kilogram, which is quite a lot of lift in the atmosphere, and that's certainly more than enough to induce some severe weather throughout the Midwest and the Southeast. So you guys need to pay close attention to this. What really will determine how much severe weather will occur is how much cold air is going to be behind the low pressure system to really set the stage for an unstable air mass. And that really all depends on just the position of the storm, because if it's a low further southward and a little bit stronger, then we could see that cold air move southward, along with stronger northerly wind component that will make the air more unstable for that tail end of the storm to strengthen a little more. However, if it ends up being weaker and a little bit further northward, then we're less likely to see that cold air interact with that warm air, and as much cold air to interact with that warm air, since the winds won't be as strong associated with this low pressure system. So we just gotta wait and see. Over the next couple of days is going to be interesting to watch, and we just gotta pay attention to the local forecast. However, I will say it's pretty likely you guys will experience some sort of severe weather throughout the Southeast. In terms of the rainfall, that will be another major concern that I listed, and you see that throughout the Ohio River Valley states, there are areas where experiencing well over an inch of rain to 2 to 3 inches of rain. So this is certainly a concern if you're a nearby river that's overtopping its banks, and then it's even more of a concern right around the Southeast, where Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, and Mississippi are now getting involved in the just very heavy rainfall, where we could see up to 5 or close to 5 inches of rain. And that's certainly a concern for you guys, because flooding will be an issue associated with it, and maybe flash flooding depending on how potent these thunderstorms will be. So keep a close eye on that throughout the Southeast. In terms of your convective outlook for today, you see that the risk is mainly marginal to slight for the most part throughout New Mexico, the western portion of Texas, and Colorado, and there is that moderate possibility of severe weather right around the Texas and Oklahoma border, right around Texas Panhandle. However, for the most part, it will be light, but the severe weather threat will increase once this trough moves further and further to the southeast, where unstable air will be more present, and you see that the chance certainly increases a moderate right around Kansas. And then you see day 3 is when the southeast finally gets involved, where Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas will get involved in moderate to severe thunderstorms. So keep in mind of that throughout the Southeast and Midwest today. And here's a map of where you should experience the worst of severe weather. You see Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, and even Oklahoma and Texas could experience moderate severe weather risk. Slight just outside of that, and then flooding and rain concerns will of course be the issue. And we see that the major Arctic blast will bring temperatures close to 15 degrees below average. Taking a look at the forecast, at the anomaly forecast based off what the GFS model is saying, to see how much colder the temperatures will be for a lot of United States. You see it's already colder now, but you see we're in the purples, which represent minus 16 to 20 degrees Celsius below average, which is equivalent to around 20 degrees below average for Fahrenheit for a lot of the United States. So this is just very cold air, much colder than average for a lot of the weekend, and this is expected to continue for 5 days. So keep a close eye on that all throughout the United States, because we're going to see a big jet stream that's going to bring just much colder than average temperatures throughout the United States. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather content. And I hope you guys have a good day.